Hello folks, welcome to the AI University. So in this video, I'm going to cover the details about two instances where optimization through backpropagation fails in neural networks. So this is a very important topic to understand when we work with recurrent neural networks. So please watch this video till the end. Folks, this is Nitin welcoming you to the AI University channel where you can learn all your favorite digital technologies like machine learning, deep learning, AI, big data, Hadoop, virtual reality, and cloud computing. And you can acquire related skill sets in order to advance your career in these fields. Okay, and this channel takes a hands-on approach to build AI-based products and applications. So if you are new here, then consider subscribing to this channel, or if you have already subscribed, then click on bell icon to receive the notifications about hottest technologies of 21st century. Folks, so I introduced a single neuron, recurrent neuron, which we unrolled through time in previous video, right? And here I told you that these recurrent neurons makes the layers of recurrent neural network. But I told you that from introduction of recurrent neuron perspective. So I was introducing the concept of recurrent neurons. So that's where I told you about that. But in reality, neural networks has several different layers, and each of these layers have more than one neuron. Okay, and it is highly unlikely that you have just one neuron in single layer. So in recurrent neural network, we generally have a group of neurons which form together something called memory cell. Okay, and so just like we discussed in the case of single neuron, a memory cell have the input xt to this group of cells, and another input is yt minus 1, which is output from previous time step, and the output of this current cell is yt. So this group of neurons, which can be any number within this group, makes or forms an recurrent neural network cell. And GRU cell, basic cell, or LSTM cells are variation of the this particular cell. Okay, so now each of these cells have their own specific characteristics that makes them suitable for different types of problems. So in a nutshell, it's not a single neuron which gets unrolled through time. In fact, it's a memory cell that gets unrolled through the time, forming the layers of the neural network. So each of these layers of neural network have the number of neurons which we specify for this memory cell, and the layers we have on a screen here is the same memory cell at a different time step or instance of time. Here, the output of the previous time step is fed as an input to the next time step. And recurrent neural network makes use of something called backpropagation via gradient descent algorithm in order to get trained. So in case of neural network, one has to consider many weights and biases that have to be trained in order to find the best fit machine learning model. And you need to have as many weights and biases as there are connections between neurons in your neural network. And as discussed in previous videos, we can calculate the loss or error based on the specific cost function or loss function. That is, we try to find out the best value of weights and biases for which we have the smallest error or loss. And I have created a separate video on loss function, so you can go through that video to get more details. I have given the link in the I button above, so you can just click on that and get the necessary details from there. So gradient descent uses a kind of loss curve to find out the smallest value of error shown here in this diagram. So in order to find out the smallest possible value of error, we have to start somewhere. So we randomly initialize our weights and biases parameter to some value along the slope, okay, and from this value initialize in fact the initial value of error, our optimizer will try to descend down the slope, okay, hence giving this name gradient descent, because we descend down the slope, okay, to get to the point where we have smallest value of error. So we try to converge on best possible value for weight and bias. In fact, that's the objective of the optimization algorithm. That is, the entire purpose of the training process is to find the best possible value of all weights and biases for all the connections between neurons from neural network perspective, and we use backpropagation for that purpose. I've also created a separate video on backpropagation, so you can go through that video to get more details. And I have given the link in the I button again above. So now this backpropagation process can fail under two conditions or at two instances, okay. Number one is it will fail if the gradient don't change at all, or if the gradients change very fast. So when the gradient don't change at all, then we call that problem as vanishing gradient problem. We start off with some initial value of the error, and instead of descending down the slope of our loss curve, we simply hang around the same position. So the loss doesn't get changed, and gradient becomes zero or stops changing or updating. So folks, let me share a fun fact before I move to another type of problem associated with backpropagation. Do you know that a 10% increase in data accessibility will result in more than $65 million additional net income for typical Fortune 1000 company? Okay, so isn't that amazing? So another type of instance or problem where backpropagation fails is exploding gradient problem. Here also we start off with some initial value of error, and we progress further. As we progress further, the gradient explodes or goes suddenly up and spikes down rapidly or randomly. So here also the training process doesn't converge, okay. So in a nutshell, training process will not converge if we have either vanishing gradient or exploding gradient problem or instance, okay. So recurrent neural network are susceptible to both of these problems, and hence it was very important to discuss about these two types of problems in this video, okay. So folks, this is it for this video. To conclude, I explained about two instances where backpropagation can fail and can impact our recurrent neural network. So let me ask you a question from today's video. Which entity determines how many layers an RNN can have? Please post your comments in the comment section given below so that I can get a chance to incorporate your feedback. And you can also ask your technical questions in the comment section, and I will be glad to answer your question. So feel free to post your questions. And if you are watching this video and you are not already a subscriber to our channel, consider clicking that little subscribe button. In case you have already subscribed, then click on the bell icon to receive the notifications whenever I will release a new video. So thanks for hanging out with me, guys. I will be covering next topic in the upcoming videos, so keep on watching. Thank you.